Gabriel Martinelli, Arsenal transfer truth as Mikel Arteta's Liverpool decision sparks shock in Premier League. Hope you're all having an amazing day. Before we get started, if you're a true football fan, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and smash the thumbs up. Let's jump right into the action. Arsenal transfer news as Gabriel Martinelli's position in the squad becomes increasingly uncertain after 3 deals. From starting 25 Premier League games as the first-choice left winger to being one of 4 now competing for the same spot, Gabriel Martinelli has had a tough summer. Coming off the back of his second most productive season at Arsenal, he is now in a fierce battle for minutes. Martinelli is now likely to be behind Eberechi Eze after his transfer from Crystal Palace was announced on Saturday. Noni Madueke has mainly been used on his side as well, although Bukayo Saka's injury may well open up his preferred right flank. Should Madueke get the nod behind Saka as expected, then Martinelli would still face serious competition from Eze and Leandro Trossard. The latter has just penned a new contract at Arsenal and came off the bench against Leeds United over the weekend. Whether that is an indication of Martinelli's position in the squad or not, will wait to be seen. When Arsenal go to Liverpool on Sunday, the picture will become clearer. Saka is likely to be out of that match with injury, leaving Madueke the right, whilst Eze will have had a full week of training with his new teammates. Mikel Arteta could throw the 27-year-old in at Anfield as he looks to add attacking spark to the team. Although Arsenal did put 5 past Leeds, 3 of those came from set pieces, 2 corners, and 1 penalty, meaning it is just 2 open play goals out of 7 in the first 2 weeks. Arteta is unlikely to be too bothered by where the goals come from, as long as they continue to flow. But boosting threat from live situations is a must if Arsenal are to progress on multiple fronts. Martinelli has been one player criticized for his lack of form, hence the club dipping into the transfer market not once but twice for players able to operate in his position over the window. Madueke is primarily a right winger, but is more than capable of offering cover and competition on the left, where Martinelli almost only ever plays. Interest from Saudi Arabia has mooted throughout 2025, but the Brazilian remains part of Arsenal's plans, Football.Focus understands. There is no intention to let him leave. Martinelli himself is keen to keep playing at the highest level, especially in a World Cup year. He has a point to prove with Real Madrid's Rodrigo, one of the many names he is up against as an option for national team boss Carlo Ancelotti. Earlier this year, he was included ahead of Rodrigo, who has the added benefit of having worked with Ancelotti at Madrid. If Martinelli was to find himself out of the frame at Arsenal, then things could change. As a 24-year-old with 162 Premier League appearances, 118 starts, and over 10,000 minutes and an impressive 40 goals and 20 assists in that time, Martinelli is a player of value. Given Arsenal's need for sales, especially if they are to purchase Pirlo and Capi, then a sizable bid for Martinelli would have to be considered. Although Jakub Kiwior's exit remains the most obvious route to make room for Capi, Andrea Berta is aware of Arsenal's poor track record for selling. Alexis Oxlade-Chamberlain remains the most expensive sale at £40 million, and the current market would suggest Martinelli can recoup Arsenal at least as much, if not considerably more than that. The question is now just how much Martinelli is going to play with Eze set to take on an important role from the outset. If Saturday's substitute decision is anything to go by, then he may well find it hard to get close to the 2,200 minutes he managed last season. In fact, since making his breakthrough under Arteta in 2021, Martinelli has played 1,800, 2,700, 2,000, and 2,200 league minutes, featuring in between 33 and 36 separate matches. In total, there are 3,420 available for the left winger, but that now has to be split between at least 3 players rather than just 2, Martinelli and Trossard. Arteta could have chosen Trossard on Saturday in order to protect Martinelli from further injury worries, having already seen his 2 main creative players go off. Or he could be preparing Trossard ahead of Martinelli because he is in favor and is viewed as being the more suitable alternative. Only time will now tell. You can never say never when it comes to transfers, although at this stage, there is nothing in the works. Gabriel Martinelli's future at Arsenal has become one of the most debated topics in the football world, with speculations swirling about whether Mikel Arteta might consider cashing in on the Brazilian winger amid reported Liverpool interest. The truth behind this transfer story carries weight not only because of Martinelli's immense importance to Arsenal's attacking setup, but also because of the wider implications it holds for the Gunners' project under Arteta. With the Premier League landscape constantly shifting, Arsenal's response to any potential approaches will speak volumes about their ambitions, their resolve, and the direction in which they are heading as a club. Martinelli has long been regarded as one of Arsenal's most electrifying players, a forward blessed with pace, trickery, and a fearless mentality that makes him a nightmare for defenders. Signed from Ituano in Brazil as a raw teenager, he has blossomed into a key figure in Arteta's squad, capable of playing both wide on the left and through the middle. His work rate, ability to press, and willingness to run in behind have made him invaluable in high-intensity matches. But his journey at Arsenal has not been without challenges. Injuries have disrupted his rhythm, while the arrival of other forwards such as Leandro Trossard and now Victor Gyökeres has raised questions about how Arteta will balance his attack moving forward. Liverpool's reported admiration for Martinelli is hardly surprising. Jurgen Klopp has always valued dynamic wingers who combine technical ability with relentless energy, and Martinelli fits that mold perfectly. In fact, Liverpool scouts have tracked him since his early days in England, with Klopp himself once describing him as unreal after Arsenal faced Liverpool at Anfield. With Mohamed Salah's long-term future still uncertain, Liverpool are naturally looking at potential successors to carry their frontline into the next era, and Martinelli ticks all the boxes. But here is where the Arsenal transfer truth lies. Arsenal have no intention of selling Martinelli, nor does the player have any desire to leave. Sources close to the Emirates insist that the Brazilian is fully committed to the club, tied down to a long-term contract that secures his future until at least 2027. The Gunners see him as part of their core alongside Bukayo Saka, Martin Odegaard, William Saliba, and Declan Rice. Allowing him to leave, especially to a direct rival like Liverpool, would undermine everything Arteta has built over the past 4 years. This is why the decision Arteta makes in the coming weeks, particularly in high-profile fixtures such as the clash with Liverpool, will speak volumes. If Martinelli starts and plays a pivotal role, it sends a clear message that he remains central to Arsenal's plans. If, on the other hand, he finds himself rotated heavily or sidelined in favor of others, the speculation will only intensify. Fans have already begun dissecting Arteta's every lineup choice, with some fearing that Martinelli could be edged out in favor of tactical reshuffles that prioritize other profiles. The truth, however, is more nuanced. Arteta values versatility and squad depth, meaning that Martinelli may not always start, but will always be involved in Arsenal's biggest games. Liverpool's admiration may continue in the background, but unless Arsenal themselves open the door, there is little chance of a transfer materializing. Financially, Arsenal are in a strong position. They are no longer a club forced to sell their best players to rivals, as was the case during the Emirates Stadium debt years, when stars like Robin van Persie, Cesc Fabregas, and Samir Nasri departed. The Kroenkes have shifted the financial model, providing backing that allows Arsenal to retain top talent while investing in reinforcements. Losing Martinelli would therefore contradict the club's new image as a contender rather than a feeder. From Martinelli's perspective, the project at Arsenal remains too attractive to abandon. He has spoken openly about his love for the club, the city, and the fans who have embraced him from day one. Playing under Arteta has accelerated his development, and with Arsenal consistently competing at the top end of the Premier League and in the Champions League, there is no pressing need to jump ship. He knows he has the chance to etch his name into Arsenal folklore if he stays and helps deliver the trophies the club craves. Nevertheless, the whispers linking him to Liverpool reflect the reality of modern football. Top players at rival clubs will always be monitored, especially those whose style aligns with a particular system. Liverpool will not stop watching Martinelli, but Arsenal have made it clear that their stance is immovable. Much depends on how Arteta handles the winger's minutes and development moving forward. There is also the question of competition within the squad. With Trossard proving his worth in big games, Kai Havertz offering a different attacking dimension, and academy starlets pushing for chances, Martinelli will have to fight to retain his starting berth. That, however, is exactly what Arteta wants, a competitive squad where no one is guaranteed a place. How Martinelli responds to this challenge will define his trajectory in the coming seasons. The wider Arsenal fanbase, for its part, remains deeply protective of Martinelli. Social media erupts with backlash at any mention of him leaving, especially to Liverpool, who have become both a respected rival and a direct threat in the Premier League title race. For fans, selling Martinelli would be unthinkable, a betrayal of the progress Arteta has overseen. Instead, they want to see him flourish alongside Saka, Odegaard, and Gyökeres, forming a devastating frontline that can go toe-to-toe with the likes